Okay, let's get started with Bitcoin. This is 12-hour scale. Quick recap. Okay, let me zoom out and let me hide also all these drawings. So we know what happened. Now, what we see here is this is a consolidation phase where there were three major attempts where you can say this is one, this is second, and this is third. Um, Of course, when there is a big drop like this, it is very unlikely that it will just go up in a V shape and then, goes back to the previous high, which is this, or maybe close to this one. This is very normal case. This is how it moves. However, what is important is the maintaining of the balance and required height. So when it bounced, of course this bounce is not good enough. The bounce is encouraging but not good enough. This is still a dead cat bounce as far as the height is concerned. So this height is not high enough for we can say this is safe level. That's why we have safe level much higher at around 47k. Now what is positive right now here is it is making higher lows. This was the lowest point, 30k, and then higher low, right? Around 31k, 100, and then 33k, and now this was like yesterday's low. This is a recent low, yesterday's low, and this is a recent low. Now, until this one, it was all okay. What I see here is now the balance is changing. Now, until yesterday, until this candle, there was absolutely no issue. But today's dip is changing the balance. What I mean is, sometime it's not just about few $100s here and there. Sometime it could dip a little below, and that's why I have this line. And right now, it broke below this line. To me, this is a time to raise our guards. This is the time where I would say it is changing the balance, and the pressure, downside pressure, is rising. Having said that, uh, this is purely based on yellow trend line, you can say. So it hit once, twice, and now it's struggling to go up at this moment. And this is a borderline case in my opinion, though it's a little bit down. Still, it's a borderline case. Sometime it varies by different exchanges also. For example, if I connect Coinbase, yeah, it Coinbase is similar actually. Coinbase is similar. So it looks like it's similar structure, right? So this is where I would say the balance is changing and the downside pressure is rising. Now, one more aspect that is important: the drop is not with a very high volume. The volume is still declining. The severity of drop in terms of volume is not so significant. even from the price level, we can still say that okay, this is still an higher high. If it is not exactly on above this line, still this is a borderline case. What we don't want to see is breaking below this line. So this aspect is purely based on candle and the candle specific lows, so which is this 33k 33,379. This is the low. If this low is broken below, then the balance would change. This red level is calculated based on my method, um, and this is going to give us the first warning that if this is broken below 34720, that means it is a good idea to reduce long position. It's not a financial advice, just to clarify. But then as it breaks this level, so I would say this is number one, below this is number two, below this is number three, four, and five. I hope you're following me. Let me repeat it. One, red level. Two, which is this low of the candle, 3333, 79, 7, 4.4, this, and finally this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you mean? What I mean is, you can consider that this is a 5-step process where you may reduce your risk. Okay, it depends on your goal, it depends on your risk tolerance. I personally would never recommend, I don't recommend, but let's say if I just think from a trader point of view, I would not sell because it broke below red. I would sell some, then I would sell some more, I would sell some more below this, I would sell some more below this, and so on. Of course, if you're not online, then you may, it's very hard. In this case, what is important is the alts are following Bitcoin, right? So the alts has no identity at this moment, apart from some exceptional moves sometimes, some, especially when Bitcoin is falling, they just follow like a herd. So that's why they just keep falling, and when the Bitcoin stops, it stops. So that's why we track mainly Bitcoin in times like this. When the Bitcoin is okay and when a coin hits the resistance, then it's a different story. Okay, so this is about risk management. I just wanted to cover because today the balance is like shifting, but as still it's above the red level, so I would not press any panic button, right? However, we have alert, conditional alert, that in case I'm offline or yeah, then consider this as an alert. And these are the 5 levels I gave you, this one, and this, all this. So these are important levels for you to consider. And sometime the price could go all the way here and just break below a little bit, about below this one, and then rises. So remember this. So if anyone who is managing risk and say okay, I'll exit only below this one, and sometime price, let's say, dip all the way here and then rise very rapidly, then that person or trader end up in FOMO, because he or she would have planned to exit fully just below this candle, right? um, there are always some support level I can provide, but in, especially in consolidation phase, the support levels are very close by. There's no reason for giving any support level other than the important level where the balance would change, which is this red level. Otherwise, if there are different support level from where it could bounce. That's why I said these are reference point, 1, 2, 3, right? 3, 4, and a 5. These are reference point on which you can decide how much to reduce and what to do, and so on, right? Now, as I said, so in If it continues going down, it could bounce from any level, from sometimes just below this level. And as I said, if someone sell everything, then it could end up in a big FOMO when it rises. So that's a very important point to reiterate here. The next lower level is 25230. If this is broken below, and price could actually continue go down up to 20k also, which I have not depicted here. But we're talking about bear scenario where this is the first leg, and this is a consolidation. Then the second leg would be touching near this level. There would be another consolidation, and then there could be a third leg coming back, coming to, I mean, all the way to 20k level or so, right? Which would be S8 support level. Now, we are not talking about this and this at this moment because right now we are here, but we talked about this scenario, 34k scenario, when we were here as well, because it was bending. And when it was here, I said the probability is low when it was here, but then there was a green level have here. It could not break above the green level, and then it started going down. Similarly, scenario wise, this is what it looks like. This is the first leg consolidation, and a second leg consolidation, and a third leg, and something like that. um so this is a scenario which we need to keep in mind. And the probability, it's a possibility wise, there are so many possibilities you could think of. Probability wise, this scenario is less probable at this moment. Like this scenario was less probable when it was here, but then it was high probable when it broke below this one. Similarly, if this is broken below, then this level is broken below, then S7 becomes high probable. Still, this 20k level is low probable, but that's how it is. So in my analysis, I would think from stage by stage, step by step, because there is no end to think about extreme ends, right? We have to think about what is probable now, right? So when we were here, we were talking about breaking on the upside. Now with this dip, we have to change our mind. It's not that we're changing analysis, we are adapting to the situation. But at the same time, we are adapting, but we are not saying that this is a doomsday and thinking of this level. What we're saying is we need to be prepared if if it continues goes down, because the price is not in our hand. What is in our hand is risk management. Okay. No matter what you expect, no matter what you desire, um, we have to prepare, and we have to keep our plan ready, because many people think about the exit when price falls. I always think about exit before buying. And if you are not thinking if before buying, at least you should think when it is not falling. Okay. So for an example, right now there is no free fall, there is no crash, it's just a dip. But this is the time you should prepare your plan. And they say, okay, these are the five levels M gave. If you think that you make it make sense, then you can say what should I do on these five levels, and you should have your risk management plan ready, right? I don't think anyone should be panicking or worrying at this level. This is a phase where we should be prepared with a potential downside scenario, because things are not in, price is not in our hand. Okay. um, but we can calculate probabilities. Now if you look at we should always also look for, which I keep an eye on this one, which is like inverse chart, which is which was making a bottom here, and then a dip. These are like point of rejections. But if you think from this point of view, that it is also making higher lows. So you see what is happening. The regular chart was also making higher lows in during consolidation, and this chart, inverse chart, is also making higher lows. So that way it's neutral, because it's not that this low was lower than this in this chart. Okay, so that's why this dip on this chart was not deep enough. In a real chart or regular chart, the bounce was not good enough. So that you can say that if you look at this chart and think this is any coin, and if you look at this coin, you can say, oh, you know what, it is going up. There are point of rejection, but look at this one, that it is making higher lows. And right now this is a daily candle, and the daily candle is green, right? And if it breaks if it breaks above this candle, whatever rejection what we saw here will be of no use, because whatever rejection happened, it has overcome that downside move by making a move on the upside, breaking above this one. So here, when you see this inverse chart, it brings the balance from analysis point of view, even from traders point of view, that it is required when we are biased about what we think is should happen. And when there is objectivity required, it is important that you keep looking at the inverse chart, like I'm showing you. So the inverse chart will show that if these levels are broken above, that's why I talked about 5 levels. And that's why it's important that you have to think about this point of rejection, right? And because then it would just continue going up in that case, from here and that, and it just then in that case it would be just end of, in this chart it will just go up. That means it's end of bull run. Having said that, this is based on the assumption that it will go break above. It has not broken above yet, and it happens. So for an example, if you um let me show you. For an example, when we were here, let's say we go back in past, when we were here, this was a drop, consolidation, and a rise. When you look at this rise, when you're if you're here, you think, oh my goodness, you know what, this is so amazing. Let me draw a line as well. This is so amazing. Why? because because see, this was a rejection from this trend line, and then it broke above and it's consolidating. My goodness, this is so amazing, and it should go up. It means the Bitcoin will go down. You know what happened? Then this chart, can maintain this level pretty good, but then it kept going down and down, and then this level was never broken above. Though when you look at this, it looks so scary. This chart looks so bullish, right? Because this is inverse chart, remember. And then you see, oh, what a breakout, and then a retest, and then even a second retest. So you don't see that it's going this chart is going down, but then you over time you see that how the chart progresses, and then the bull run continues, because this price continue to go down like this. So similarly, of course, this was a bottom formation. The bottom formation gave this bounce, and then this is a point of rejection. So this is a good news, point of rejection, but now it's rising, right? So now it's rising, but again, though it's rising, this chart, we cannot assume that it is going to break above this one and this one. So that's why, like the previous example, that's why we cannot just assume that even here, if you look at it, it tried to break above pretty good in a borderline case, right? Maybe I can draw a line like this again and show you that it touched this one, but it could not break above, which is a good news, and that's why the bull run continued, and so on. Here also it tried to bounce but failed, and so on. So the point I'm trying to address here is, this is the point where we have to be caution, but this is not the time where you have to assume something and do something silly in terms of panicking and selling, as long as these levels are broken, right? So this is inverse chart, because this is very important to reset our mind and think from a total different mindset point of view, as if this is a different coin altogether. Okay, so I wanted to show you. Let's go back to a regular chart. So I would never say everything is okay, everything is fine, but the point is, it's important to know the key levels. That's my message. um, Now let's have a quick look at weekly without drawing. The weekly says, I don't know anything about it, I have no clue what I'm doing. That kind of mindset Bitcoin has. Bitcoin is moving sideways, and this is consolidation. Here you don't see a pennant on weekly scale, you just see sideways move. And from candles characteristic point of view, it says, I don't know anything, I'm clueless, I'm range bound. This is my range and I'm moving within this range, and I'm confused kind of thing. And I mean, not in a negative sense, but the only thing is, I'm not sure whether I want to go up or down. That kind of a state I am. But if you look at it, this is how I see again a low and this low. So it is not making a new low, which is a good thing, and which this is what we want to see. We saw similar kind of a thing over here as well, when it had a low and then this low and this low. Though this low was lower than this, but progressively speaking, it then continue moving up. So who knows, I mean, in that case, if it doesn't break below this, then it's still weighing up. So there are different ways you can look at the same chart. So on a weekly, it says, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's a range bound and it's positive in a way that it's not making new low, right? It's not coming back near 30k level. So that's a positive thing, right? Now another thing, so this is weekly, right? Let's look at monthly quickly without any drawing. The monthly is not looking good from Bitcoin point of view. If you look at it, this low is not even in the body, within the body of this. So ideally you would like to see in the middle of the previous red candle. As you could see, this is a huge monthly low. What you don't want to see Bitcoin somewhere here, you want to see Bitcoin somewhere here, right? So that's about 42k, and if it breaks above 47k, then we're good, because then it will be in this upper range, and this is where we will say, okay, now you know what, then BTC is like going for a higher high. So the monthly is weak, okay, that's for sure. It got to improve. It is, this is not good enough. That's why 4 to 42k would be a good start on a higher scale point of view, and then 47, 48 kind of a level is going to give us that confidence. Another aspect that I want to highlight is Bitcoin dominance is declining, and I can see, so usually when the Bitcoin falls, you must have seen over time that when the Bitcoin falls, let's say around 2%, 3%, then the alts would fall 6% to 10%, like 2 times or 4 times approximately. What we are seeing here is totally different behavior. The Bitcoin is down by 2.5%, but some of the coins haven't gone down. Now, the thing is, when the Bitcoin goes down, they do lose value. What I'm trying to highlight is, they're, of course, they are going to react because they're still coupled. What I want to highlight is the degree of impact is not the same. Um, Except when it touched 30k, it was more like a panic sell. But in if you leave that drop, that day's drop, then I see more resilience among alts with respect to BTC's dips. Okay, when if BTC crashes, like what it did when touched 30k, it's different day. That day doesn't happen, occur every other week, right? But like say, dip like today's dip 2.5% down, but I don't see alts are actually giving up their levels. So which is very positive, very positive behavior, I would say. And as soon as BTC paused, they were they were ready to go up. Okay, this is hourly scale. So now if I zoom in, we talked about different scale, higher scale, all the level. We can look at the hourly just for a quick look what is happening. This is a quick drop, but then now it's stabilizing near 4.2 if you look at it. So this all the consolidation is happening around 4.2. Here all this 4.2 is really a pivotal, playing a pivotal role in my opinion here. Over here, over here, 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 look at that. So this is really a critical level, and of course this 4.1 also playing a good role. Look at here. Okay, look at here, it gave a good support, and then and so I think this the whole consolidation is like, if you look at it, this S4, S4.1, 4.2, and 4.4, we had 3 as well, 4.3 somewhere here. I think I removed by mistake, or I don't remember now, but it was 4.3 was somewhere here. So all these supports are playing their role. And it's like they're just touching these levels over time and just make, moving sideways. And I don't mind, as long as it doesn't change the balance, as I explained earlier, right? But eventually they have to go up, because they cannot just keep on doing. This wave is contracting. If you look at this one, this, when I say contracting, means if you look at this spiral effect, it is like a narrowing down, they are like compressing, and then it should, now if what we want to see here is, ideally should have gone up from here. Fine, this came down, but now at least it should go up, break above this, and this time, this bounce, whenever this bounce happen next, now or in next few hours, whenever it happens, it must break above this high, and it must reach to S4 to get out of this mess, to get out of this sideways move. Otherwise the pressure will build. More it spends time on 4.2, more it is going to weigh on the downside, and then it will likely to attack this level, and then eventually weigh more on the downside, and it could break down. So soon, there is no fixed timeline. Soon, when I say soon, means it, you can refer this yellow line, and say, okay, now if it walks along this yellow line along, then it's good, right? So ideally, so today is, so in next 2-3 days, if it can break above, then it's good. If it not going to break above and going to stay in this, the obviously in that case it's going to remain at 4.2, and then you can expect it to go down, right? So it's very important that from now on, for next few hours, or at least next couple of days, it goes up and breaks above 4.1. Do not stop here, but make higher. And it's okay if it takes little time at S4, I don't mind, but then eventually goes up. So that's what we want to see. If that doesn't happen, then you have to keep an eye on this. So that's my take on Bitcoin at different scales, the critical levels, and so on, and how it is progressing at this moment, right? Um, so I'll end this session here and take your questions.